Hi, I'm Tim Harrison. I'm the Managing Director of Ionic Rare Earths. We're developing magnet recycling here in Belfast with Ionic Technologies. We're developing the Makutu Rare Earth project in Uganda, producing mixed rare earth carbonate there from our demonstration plant, and now looking at exploring downstream opportunities in Brazil.
You are indeed. We're gonna hear all about the kind of moving parts. There's a lot going on, Tim. But first of all, the raise, 5.5 million placement, a little bit more expensive than you'd hoped, presumably because of what the markets are doing at the moment.
Yeah, challenging market at the moment. I think rare earths is not feeling a lot of love. Certainly prices are, substantially down from where they were 12 months, even 2 years ago. It's a pretty challenging market at the moment. But we keep just pushing on and ticking boxes and making progress.
Well, I guess the point is you raised the money. That's the positive here in this. And I guess I'm intrigued today because there's so many moving bits to this. I want to know where I should be looking, and more importantly, where you're going to be allocating that capital. So why the raise? Why now?
Yeah, look, I think where we are, we needed to put some more fuel in the tank, given where we want to take the business, but specifically the momentum we've got with Ionic Technologies. So I'm back here in Belfast now. We continue to meet with groups. We're showing people through, advancing the discussions now towards commercial partnerships. The development of what we're doing here in Belfast, commercialising the tech, looking at the site, progressing the feasibility study, and now looking at, where that plant 2, plant 3, et cetera, is going to go in other markets. There's a bit going on, Matt.
There's a lot going on, but it seems to be working. And look, there's also companies being busy, but Belfast seems to be really kind of moving through the phases. Government support, and I read in your press release that you're full for the next 18 months as well, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, look, we continue to have engagement with the supply chain. So obviously we've got a very good relationship with Less Common Metals, our collaboration partner here on a UK supply chain. But, engagement with the magnet manufacturers, engagement with other industrials that are evaluating moving into rare earths and looking at recycling as a great way to penetrate that market and build a footprint. So we're bringing those groups through. We're showing them the process plant, the demonstration plant, and starting to talk about what those opportunities are going to look like.
Okay, but explain to me, though, scale. There's a demo plant, so obviously early days. If they like what they see, how does this move forward? Where does plant 2, 3, 4, 5 go? How does it get funded? What's the model? Remind me.
Yeah, so we're looking at leveraging the work that we've done here in the IP into joint ventures. So working with companies with balance sheets to be able to finance the development of these next plants. Where are we looking? Well, we're looking in those markets that are wanting to develop magnet rare earth capacity external to China. So, Europe, the US, and other parts of Asia are key markets where we're looking to grow. But also Brazil, where we see a huge opportunity and where we've been engaging there with the Brazilian government for the best part of 2 years.
Okay, and what's the potential for Belfast? What will it just be a demo plant to try and get partners on board, or can it do more?
Yeah, so where we are now, the capacity at Belfast, we're evaluating what we can do to de-bottleneck it. Certainly, there's more material available to us than probably what we expected, certainly 12 months ago. So we're evaluating what we can do to add more capacity now. But, with regards to the commercial plant that we're working on the feasibility study here in Belfast, we're engaging with local stakeholders. We've identified a site, and so we're working through the approvals process for that site. And that'll be the basis for the feasibility study. And looking at capacity, looking at how big we build this, to provide certainly a solution for the UK, but also increasingly providing more material into the European market.
Right, and obviously, look, okay, the market is slightly depressed, but at the same time, there is a huge machine at work here in terms of the recycling industry across Europe, in terms of government mandates, subsidies, etc., all those sorts of incentives that you want to see. with that in mind, will this expansion potential need to be self-funding, or do you think that there's going to be financing available once you decide what you can do?
Look, once we've finalised the feasibility study, and we're working on this package now and exploring what's available to us through channels here from stakeholders in the UK government and different funding mechanisms and pools of capital that have been established within the UK for the energy transition, providing the critical raw materials for electrification of automotive. You've got levelling up policy and regional growth. And so we're in a perfect opportunity and location here in Belfast to capitalise on that with a substantially lower capital requirement to actually deliver magnet rare earths to the UK. So, we've had a number of meetings actually today here in Belfast with different stakeholders within the UK government, different departments, so that we start to map out what's available and set a path towards the financing of a commercial plant here in Belfast.
Right, and what reassurances have you had with regards to demand? Because we've seen, some of the other battery metals out there talking about OEMs perhaps revising their growth targets. Is that a concern for you? And where does that sit within the kind of magnet recycling, remit that you're seeing out there?
Yeah, no, look, I think whatever we produce will be gobbled up, certainly by the UK and European customers. We had a discussion earlier today. They'll take everything we can produce. They'll even take the material that we're producing in the demo plant because there's an immediate need now. So, the demand's there for the product. The demand's there for recycled materials because the supply chain and the OEMs are asking for that material. They're asking for that to come into their existing capacity and existing production now. And we're the only people out there, we're the only company out there producing separated magnet rare earth oxides that can be used to make the sintered magnets, the grain boundary diffusion techniques that minimise the amount of heavy rare earths to go into the magnets for offshore wind and electric vehicles, for example, plus military and defence. So I don't think we're going to have any challenge selling the material that will be generated from the plant we build here in Belfast.
Right. So the industry's there, demand is there. I guess the question is always going to come back to, well, what price are you going to be able to get? Because, rare earths tend to be slightly erratic in behaviour, certainly have been. But the general consensus is that moving forward, perhaps things may be a little bit less erratic. Well, that's the hope anyway for you. So when you're going about doing your studies, how are you viewing that? How do you manage your own expectations around forecast price?
Well, we subscribe and have subscribed to a number of different forecasting groups for a number of years. For all the rhetoric around the pricing where it is now, the forecasts really haven't changed because the demand is still projected to be substantially more than the supply. So, and given the level of engagement that we've had from the market, we're inundated by requests from multiple groups now looking for access to both the NdPr, but more importantly, it's the heavy rare earths that everybody's trying to work out where they're going to get it from. So that provides us with a unique opportunity to try and get the best deal we can, and ascribing to pricing that will be, longer term contracts, more so than trading on spot.
Right. Talk to me about the government, right? Because it's just typically, you work in a complicated sector, a very opaque sector, and government involvement tends to be some from 30,000 feet. They're not really into the detail. What are they interested in helping you do? What do they understand about the need for ex-China rare earths and access to that?
I would say certainly the discussions that we had today with the UK government are really around security of supply and helping the UK with sovereign capability. So, the projected rollout of electric vehicle motors in the UK is certainly going to justify a substantial amount of magnet rare earth production in the UK. So, the engagement we're having with government, they're looking for security of supply to underwrite the advanced manufacturing that they want to build here in the UK and continue to have, best part of, I think it's 900,000 current employees in the UK automotive sector. And the UK is one of the largest manufacturers of internal combustion engines at the moment, and they're looking at pivoting to, being a major producer of electric motors into the future. That's going to require magnets. And so, I think we've got a very supportive government who's looking at security of the materials that they need to go into the advanced manufacturing industries that they want here in the UK. And we're perfectly placed to be a key enabler for that capacity here in the UK.
Right. And are they enabling you to kind of go through the phases and, get what you want? Because ultimately, they're unlikely to kind of cough up any money, but there might be incentives there and partnerships to be had. So in terms of what are they actually doing from you, apart from learning about this?
Yeah, so I mean, if we look at the track record and the support that we've had from the UK government over the course of the last 18 months, we've had the best part of £3.5 million sterling worth of support to develop a demonstration plant, to complete a feasibility study, and to look at the development of a domestic rare earth supply chain here through partnerships with Less Common Metals and Ford. I would say that it won't stop there. There are other things that we're working on now. There are other opportunities that we're exploring right now with the support of the UK government. We are in discussions about what access to capital and support may be available through funds that have been established in the UK to support advanced manufacturing, regional growth, and levelling up. And so I think we're in a perfect position to take advantage of that, with a very supportive government that wants advanced manufacturing developed here in Belfast, in Northern Ireland, and wants to, have the jobs and the security of this, strategic raw materials for not just advanced manufacturing, but also from a defence perspective.
Okay, and just be really clear, and you make money how? With Belfast, how do you make money?
So we'll make money on the sale of rare earth oxides into the supply chains that we're working on developing right now here in the UK. So as far as the models in which we're operating, we're looking at tolling arrangements whereby we'll take material and turn that back into, or extract the rare earth oxides to put it back into the supply chain of our partners now. We're looking at aggregating end-of-life magnets and materials so that we can unlock the magnet rare earths within that material and put that back into the supply chain. So I don't think we're going to have any problems certainly selling product and making profit into a demand that is going to clearly outstrip supply.
Eventually, or like out of the gate? I mean, how long, what's the kind of ramp up for this? Is there a big enough market in the UK day one? Would you have to look to Europe to...
Yeah, so we're looking at being in production in 2026, Matt. So certainly the dialogue that we've been having with stakeholders here, completion of the feasibility study, which we're aiming to have done certainly in the next few months, having that done by the middle of the year, positioning this with a clear articulated ask to the UK government on what it is that we can deliver to the UK government through the development of magnet recycling here in the UK. And then in production in 2026, and that material going into the supply chain in order to provide and develop the magnets for advanced manufacturing here in the UK also align with 2026. So, yeah.
You got a sense of the size of the market yet? I mean, it's fairly nascent, so it's a bit hard, but what do you know?
Well, I mean, if we look at just, for example, the relationship that and the collaboration we've announced with Less Common Metals and Ford. Ford have identified and announced that they want to build capacity for 420,000 e-drives being constructed at Halewood in the UK. If we look at the production requirements, to produce 400,000 EVs, 400,000 electric motors, it's going to require 200 tons of magnet rare earth production. And I think publicly we've sort of gone out and said that that's probably where we're looking at the initial capacity, but we are revising that given the increased demand for that material, certainly, and our experience with the demonstration plant. I would say that there is more material out there for recycling than we probably previously expected as well.
Okay, interesting. Let's just jump down to Uganda. Makuutu, what's happening on the ground there? How are things advancing?
Yeah, so we're making mixed rare earth carbonate. We are again producing a large inventory of material so that we can then send that off to a number of groups that we're in discussions with on offtake. So offtake negotiations are progressing, and that's also part of the strategic partnering process. So, we've demonstrated the ability to make mixed rare earth carbonate. We're aggregating more product to be able to send that off to partners. And we're also waiting for a few other things and a few other dominoes to fall in the supply chain to be able to talk more publicly about some of the progresses that we're making with Makuutu. But it's bubbling away nicely in the background.
Okay, Brian. I guess we'll hear more from you as and when there's news. Obviously, if people are getting to test the concentrate, that's got to be good news for you guys. Again, I think we'll be looking to try and understand how those economics kind of flow down through the company. Now, something exciting. I think potentially exciting is obviously this JV with Viridis Mining and Minerals. Tell us exactly what this deal constitutes and what you get out of it, what you're expected to do.
Yeah, so the joint venture we've announced with Viridis is looking to establish both refining and recycling capacity in Brazil. So Ionic is a 5%, less than 5% shareholder in Viridis. So we know quite a bit about the deposit itself. We certainly watch the news, and we're expecting that they will have a significant resource that has the potential to be a substantial feed source for new refining capacity that could be developed in Brazil. And we want exposure to that opportunity and that landscape. I think Brazil has all of the potential hallmarks of being certainly a very attractive destination for refining, given the cost base, and certainly looking at the access to feed material for refining. So, having done enough work around understanding the economics of refining and locations and where we think we can deliver the most economic and robust refinery, we do think that Brazil presents a very, very good opportunity to develop a much larger ecosystem for rare earths. And I think we want to be part of the landscape that's emerging there. So we've got this joint venture now with Viridis, and I think it's very exciting for the company.
Right, but tell me more about the deal. You're talking about refining recycling facility in Brazil, but what's the actual nature of the contract? I mean, are you buying this off of them? Is it an offtake? How do you make the money?
Look,
or just selling technology?
No. So at the moment there is no binding offtake. So we're looking and exploring what that looks like. I think through this relationship, both Viridis has the ability to certainly commit offtake, or can now commit offtake with separated rare earth oxides. So I think there's an uplift, a substantial uplift for Viridis. For ourselves, there is a footprint here for us to explore and build a footprint in Brazil, and be part of that landscape, which could involve certainly the company looking at other primary deposits to build out capacity and have control and access over the production of magnet rare earth oxides to help develop an ecosystem in Brazil. So, the opportunity now to explore, greater value addition in Brazil, and working with a number of groups that we've been in dialogue there on recycling opportunities for the last couple of years also.
Okay, Viridis, not Viridis. Okay,
Viridis.
Viridis.
Yep.
Potato. Okay, so it's a stepping stone into the Brazil ecosystem. Again, big car manufacturing ecosystem.
And wind turbines and electric motors.
And wind turbines and electric motors.
So, yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, and this is the landscape that we've sort of been mapping out for some time. Again, being here in Belfast, we did host a visit last Friday from the Brazilian government, and so they've been actively engaging us for some time. Now is the right time for us to be able to move forward. We've got a lot of confidence in what we've done here in Belfast. We can replicate that in Brazil. We're certainly aware of capacity. We're aware of customers. We're aware of a huge opportunity there, and I think there is a supportive government that is looking at how they can access more value out of their rare earth endowment. And I think through recycling, we have an opportunity to certainly be part of that ecosystem, to start that material moving, and then being able to then bring on primary supply through refined oxides as we grow that base.
And how are you viewing the market? Because you've seen, obviously, price movements, you've seen equity issues across the board. You look at the markets and go, well, maybe some business models get valued differently, different multiples, etc. There's a kind of technology component to what you do, or industrial component to what you do, which is very different in terms of multiples for miners or explorers, etc. So are you trying to kind of create some product lines which perhaps give you some of that upside? I mean, how do you be playing the rare earth space ex-China?
Look, I think producing product and then being able to market that product into value addition, into metal, alloys, magnets, you start to play in a very different space. And I think that affords us the ability to also develop a lot more IP and, the relationships with the supply chain to create more value. We're not simply just going to dig dirt and sell dirt. We're selling technology metals, and being able to take that material into value-added industry and advanced manufacturing obviously creates the opportunity for the company to be at the forefront of, a significant uplift in value. And then beyond that, with what's happening, the ability to produce a wide array of rare earth elements and being able to take those products forward into advanced manufacturing and be part of a new landscape on supply ex-China does present an opportunity for the company to, I think, extract more value from just the mining assets themselves.
Okay, so capturing more of the value downstream, great. Brett Lynch, new executive chairman. He's obviously came on in this round. He's sort of, I think, was he a couple of $1 million into this thing? He believes in what you're doing, but at the same time, he's going to want you to be kind of good managers of the capital and make sure that you're getting best return on that money. So Brazil, how much actual capital are you allocating to that, or is it a time skill basis?
This is its time and skill, right? Because
right. Okay.
At the moment, I mean, we've done a lot of the work to be able to work out what the costs are going to look like, what the flow sheet configurations are going to look like. What will it cost for us to build capacity in Brazil? So by the end of this year, we're aiming to complete a scoping study on a refinery and a recycling facility. A lot of that work's already been done. So it's really just working out, well, where do we think, through discussions with the supply chain there in Brazil, where are we best placed to put refining and recycling? And that can be done, without a huge amount of capital investment from the company or the joint venture. I think, going back to your point there about Brett coming on board, Brett's been a tremendous support and extremely keen on pushing really hard for Ionic Technologies. And I think, he sees an opportunity with this because it's unique. We're doing something that nobody else is doing. And, there is a demand there from Western governments to build this capability in their backyard. So hence why we're really putting a lot of effort into Ionic Technologies to push this thing along and now moving towards those commercial partnerships.
I think, investors are going, well done on the raise. It obviously says that, people are interested in this. Obviously, may being slightly disappointed in, the price it was raised at, but given the market, take the money when you can, I think. What would you say to those investors about what you're going to be able to do with this money, and why they need to give you the time to execute on there's a lot of moving parts here, right? And a lot of conversations going on, and it all seems positive. But is the market going to come back to us? Is Aurora going to come back anytime soon? Do you just need some deals, some partners on board? What's going to make the difference?
Yeah, look, I think all of the above, Matt. We've been very close on a few things, and I think over the course of now, the demonstration plant up and going, bringing people through, bringing companies through, the feasibility study, the quality of the product, we're very close now, I think, on being able to move Ionic Technologies forward and expanding the global footprint of Ionic Tech. I think with Makuutu, we've got product, there's demand. We do satisfy that near-term production of heavy rare earths, which is what, the Western supply chain is looking for. And I suppose, with that money in the bank now, we've got a few months to really kick some goals on the back of these catalysts and position us to take the company forward and put it in a position to be able to capitalize on the last 4 years of work that's gone into the assets.
Yeah, look, I'm not dismissing the amount of effort that's gone in and the conversations, etc. But it's kind of got to move from catalysts to contracts, or catalysts through to partners with some kind of financial upside, and being able to explain that. Do you feel that you're close, or is there, how much more do you need to deliver to kind of allow those people to make decisions?
Oh, look, Matt, I've felt that we've been close for a while. I think we've done a lot of work and a lot of engagement with a number of groups, and to take things forward, we've sort of now brought them through. They're very, very keen on the opportunity, and now it's really about trying to now get these things signed and agreed so that we can move and move forward with those partnerships. And
is there a kind of set pricing regime in the market? Who sets the price? You as the seller, or do the buyers define that? I mean, supply demand, it's usually common sense, but in rare earths, it kind of feels like some area. It feels unusual. So what can you tell us?
Yeah, look, I mean, discussions at the moment are around, there are pricing options out there, which I'm not sure are overly transparent and actually act in an elastic supply demand environment. So we're trying to get away from those mechanisms. So things like floor pricing and obviously cap pricing and those sort of things for a portion of production certainly helps to secure the financing requirements for the projects to be able to be taken forward. So that's part of the dialogue. But we're also having to explore ways in which we can be quite transparent across the supply chain, because the OEMs are looking for transparency and across all of that advanced, or all across all of that value addition process. So it's, what's the mine price, what's the refined price, the cost to go to metal, the cost to go to magnets, and being able to provide that transparency and clarity to the OEMs so that they understand the true cost of production. So there's a lot of engagement, there's a lot of dialogue with a number of groups that we're talking with now. We are engaging with some groups that have had a mandate from their senior management to go and explore new supply chains and being able to procure a portion of their existing supply through these new non-Chinese supply chains. They're prepared to pay a little bit more, but if we can get to a competitive pricing structure, then there is no constraint on how much they'll buy.
Okay, so what am I looking for next from you? Next time I see you, what are we talking about?
Well, it depends on how quickly we see each other again, Matt. But by the time we next catch up, we should have our feasibility study completed for the facility here in Belfast. And with that, we should be able to start to talk about the upside on what we can do here through Ionic Technologies, and what we can deliver to certainly stakeholders here in UK. The ability to provide material into Europe as well, and hopefully on the back of that, we'll also be in a position to start to talk about some of the other markets that we're looking to quickly roll this technology out. With Makuutu, look, I'd love to be in a position to start talking publicly about some offtake, and there is a bit of dynamic stuff happening in the background. Whether or not that's done in the near term or in 3 months, that's requiring a few other dominoes to fall. So hopefully that's we've been quite patient there, and hopefully that's pretty close as well. And then with regards to Brazil, I think we'll be talking about the size of the opportunity in Brazil, and just how we've positioned the company to be an early mover in that landscape that's going to emerge.
Tim, appreciate the update. Good luck in Belfast. Say hello to the folks there.
Thanks, Matt.